Okay, so hi and welcome to Geeks for Geeks. This is the day 16 of CodeCamp. So basically, this is an initiative so that you would have a habit of solving problems. This is me, Siddharth Hazra. Currently, I'm an SD at Geeks for Geeks. I'm a candidate master at Code Forces. So, can I have a quick one in the chat if you're present in the chat just to know your presence? Okay, just so that I know the similar faces. और सब बढ़िया सबका हाय रामचरण हाउ आर यू चलो देखते हैं टुडे we have three problems. The three problems are the very first problem is the ways to write n as a sum. The very next one is egg dropping problem. And the last one, I don't really remember it. Like, let me just open that. Minimum cost to merge stones. So basically, I would be doing this problem, the very first problem, and I would be leaving the rest of the questions to you because the last one, which was a takeaway homework, that is fine. But the egg dropping problem, I think that you shouldn't do it in the first instance itself. When you are very good at dynamic programming, and then when you are trying to build up a habit out of it, then consider solving that problem. Okay, so we are good enough. Can we just start? Okay, hi KDC Educational Institute. Hi Pothugunta. Hi Kishan. Hi Rishi. Okay, fair enough. So let's just start. I would just open a new note. So till then you can just read the problem. So quickly read the problem and then we can move forward. I would give you around 1 to 2 minutes to read and understand the problem statement itself. So quick note and then templates. कौन सा template ले जो थोड़ा cute लगे. This is cute only. Okay, this is cute. So I think that you have understood the problem. Now we can move forward and try to solve this problem. Basically, this problem is trying to tell us, like, let me just present the whole screen of mine. DND is turned on, and then take over the screen of my Mac. Okay, just let me see. N is equals to 5, output is equals to 6. So we have the value n is equals to 5 and the solution for that is equals to 6. So basically in this question is a very simple question where you need to write the number of ways in which you can build up the value n. Okay, translating the same in Hindi would be that हम n को किस किस तरीके से लिख सकते हैं. Let's say what I want to say is, let's say we have a number like 3. ओके, सो 3 को हम लोग 1+1+1 भी रिप्रेजेंट कर सकते हैं, 2+1 भी रिप्रेजेंट कर सकते हैं, ओके, और 3 भी रिप्रेजेंट कर सकते हैं. ओके, so in the same manner if we have something like 5, what we can do is we can represent 5 like this: 1, okay, then we can have 2, 1, 1, and then we can have 2, 2, 1, and then we can have 3 and 2, okay, and this would be one more, and this would be 2 plus 2, 3 plus 2, 5. Any more ways we can have it? 2, 3 is done. So what are the different ways to have it? Let me just see if they are like the same combination is considered or not. Okay, okay, I forgot the fourth thing. Okay, so it can also be written like 1 plus 4 Okay, so 1 2 3 4 5. अब लास्ट वाला ढूंढते हैं. What we can have is something like 3 plus 1 plus 1. Okay, so now we have all the 6 ways we can write the value 5 itself. So we can have something like this, 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 and something like this. ऐसा ही कुछ करना है. हम लोग 5 को इस तरीके से रिप्रेजेंट कर सकते हैं कि नहीं. Give me a quick one if the problem statement is clear. Okay. Just let me open the preview screen. Just let me open the preview screen. Okay, fair enough. This is cool. Now let us move forward and understand this. So, we are given 5 and we need to just tell the number of ways we can write off. So, we can think of that, is there a formula or something to solve up this problem or not? So a formula to find the number of ways. Okay. So let's see if we have something like not. So the very first thing is we can have something in data structures and algorithms. We have the prime sieve, that's a sieve of parenthesis. Then we have the segmented sieve. Then we have binary search. But these all algorithms won't really help us in number of ways to represent an integer. Okay, so after kind of toggling between all the algorithms, एक के बाद एक algorithms पे कूद फांद करने के बाद हम ये निष्कर्ष पे आते हैं कि हमें हर तरीके से ट्राई करना होगा. What I want to say is that after trying to toggle between the algorithms, we come to the conclusion that yes, the number 5 or an integer can be represented, but to find out the number of ways it can be represented, we need to think of something like exploring everything. So now we come to the conclusion that we really need to explore. Okay, we need to explore all possible ways. This is what I need to do. So explore all possible ways matlab. Hi Devashish, how are you? So at this point of time, you already know who is Devashish. Okay. So after exploring all possible ways मतलब हर तरफ ताक झांक करना. Okay, सबसे basic तरीका है. If I'm not able to find a solution or if I'm not able to find an algorithm, I would try to dig in every possible ways, and all the possible ways which lead me to the solution are the solution that are important for me. What I want to say is अर्थात इसका मतलब ये है कि हमें ये समझ में आता है कि हमें सारे तरीके से सोच के देखना होगा. जो जो तरीके से हम लोग सही सोच पा रहे हैं, that would be investing in our answer. So I can say explore all possible ways just tells us that this problem needs to be solved using recursion. Okay. So now I would try to solve this problem using recursion. So now let's see. See this graph. Suppose we have a number like 4, 5. Okay. We have a number like 5. So, so first we can start off with 1, 2, 3, 4. Why not 5? Because 5 is already used. Okay, how many ways this can be represented? So if I use 1, अगर 5 में से 1 मैंने यूज कर लिया तो the remaining amount would be 4. 5 मैंने से 2 यूज कर लिया, the remaining amount would be 3. 5 मैंने 3 यूज कर लिया, the remaining amount would be 2. 5 में 4 यूज कर लिया, the remaining amount would be just 1. Okay, so now from here, from 4 I can again go to 1, I can again go to 2, I can again go to 3. From 3 I can go to 1, I can go to 2. From 2 I can go to 1. And from 1 I can go to 0. Okay. Okay, fair enough. So now I can see by using 4 and 1, by using 4 and 1, we have the first combination, that is 4 and 1. So this branch is completed. But if I use something like 4 बचा था balance amount में, balance amount में से 1 निकल गया, so we have the remaining amount as how much? We have the remaining amount as just 3. Okay, so if we use 2 from the remaining amount 4, we would be left with 2 again. 4 minus 2 is equals to 2. If we use 3, then the remaining amount would be just 1. Okay, if I use 1, then the remaining amount from 3 would be just 2. If I use 2, the remaining amount would be just 1. If I use 1, the remaining amount would be 1. If I from 2, if I use 1, the remaining amount would be just 1. What about 0? We can't use this. Just let me see. What are possible values? Given a positive entity task is to find the number of ways in which sum of two or more positive numbers. Okay, number of ways, sum of two or more positive numbers. The value should be consisting of 2. Okay, so understood. I thought that this is from 0 to n minus 1. Okay, so you need to represent the value n as the sum of 2 or more variables. Okay, so for the remaining, if I use 4, the remaining amount would be just 1. So I can simply use 1. Thanks a lot, Arushi. Okay, so now what I can do is from 3, I can again go to something like 1, 2, and 3. From 2, I can go to 1 and 2. Okay, okay, I messed up kind of. Let's make a small one. This is getting really messed up. Let's make a small one like 3. Let's just take a value 3. This would be more appropriate. Okay, so now see, from 3, I can take 1, I can take 2, and I can take 3. Okay, because if I take more than 3, I won't be able to achieve the sum 4. Because अगर मेरे पास खाना ही 2 लोगों का है तो हम 3 लोग को खिला सकते हैं. If I have the food for only 2 people, can I feed 4 people or 3 people, more than that people? In the same manner, if I have 3, I can't take any amount which is greater than the balance. Okay, so if I have a budget of 10 rupees, I can't buy things more than 10 rupees. Okay, in the same manner, the first value would be 1, 2, 3. So if from 3 I take out 1, the remaining balance would be 2. From 3, if I take out 2, the remaining balance would be 1. From 3, if I take out 3, the remaining balance would be 0. Okay. So now from 2, the remaining balance 2, I can again have 1, I can again have 2. From the remaining balance 1, I can just have 1. From the remaining balance 0, I would just continue with 0. Just continue, or let's just wait at 0. Okay, and the very next thing is, if from 2 I take out 1, the remaining balance would be 1. If from 2 I take out 2, the remaining balance would be 0. If from 1 I take out 1, the remaining balance would be 0. Okay, so now everyone is 0 except the very first one, so we would handle it. So this value from 1, we can just have 1, and from 1, if we remove 1, the remaining balance would be 0. Now how many zeros were we able to achieve, मतलब कितने से exhaust हो पाया? Let us see that also. So we can see that we are able to perform this. We are okay, let's take a bright color. Okay, we are able to achieve 0 here, 2, 3, 4. ओके, हमारे पास 4 ऐसे तरीके हैं जिससे हम लोग 3 बना सकते हैं. बट द प्रॉब्लम इज वी नीड टू डिस्कार्ड दिस वैल्यू. वी नीड टू डिस्कार्ड दिस वन. व्हाई? बिकॉज it is made up of just one value. Okay, made up of just one value. Okay, and we are told in the question that the value should be consisting of more than 2 or 2 or more than 2. तो 2 और मोर देन 2 में अगर हमें कहा गया है कि ये खाना दो से ज़्यादा लोगों को बांटना है, बट हम लोग पूरा खाना एक ही को खिला दिए, that is not valid ना. In the same manner, if we are told that we need to take out the sum more than 2 or 2, then just by using the direct 3 we are just using one digit or one integer. That is why this is not a valid option. The number of ways to represent 3 is these 3 ways. Do I make sense? Give me a quick 0 or 1. Just give me a quick 0 or 1. Okay, fair enough. Okay, man. So we found out that so how would we really write the recursion? Okay, so recursion, if we talk about recursion, something known as, so this is the recursion tree, and now we need to code up the recursion. Now in recursion there are three things, that is the base case, and then we have recursive case. Okay, so we have the base case and the recursive case. For n is equals to 3 there are two ways. No, there are not two ways, there are three ways. ये वाला एक वे हो गया, ये वाला एक वे हो गया, ये वाला एक वे हो गया. समझ में आया प्रतीक गोले? ओके, सो अब रिकर्शन में दो ही तीन तरीके होते हैं. एक होता है बेस केस, जो देखो, recursion is what? A function calling itself, but we want to stop it at some point. कहीं ना कहीं जाके तो मेरी हसल रुकेगी ना, मैं पूरी जिंदगी मेहनत करते रहूंगा. इस मेहनत का जो लूप है, मैं जो नौकरी कर रहा हूँ, कभी ना कभी तो मैं जाके रिटायर होऊंगा या खुद ही बर्न आउट हो जाऊंगा. ऐसा होता है ना. सो इन द सेम मैनर रिकर्शन is a function which is calling itself. So to stop it, we need a base case, the stopping condition. It is also named as the stopping condition, रुकने वाला condition. Okay, so base case is also known as stopping condition, रुकने वाला condition. So कैसे होगा, कहाँ पे हम लोग रुक रहे हैं? When the value becomes 0. लीफ नोड पे रुक रहे हैं when the value is becoming 0. This is what we are doing. But 2 and 1 2 are the same. Yep, at this point we are not considering 1 plus 2 and 2 plus 1 to be different. At this point, like at this point, मतलब ये recursion के हिसाब से these two are different, but यहाँ के हिसाब से these are same. कहाँ गया? Yep, 1 plus 1 plus 1, देखिए जरा. Yep, 1 plus 1 plus 1, 1 2 and 2 1. हाँ. सो अभी के लिए वी वुड हैंडल दैट एक्सप्लिसिटली. अभी के लिए हम लोग ऐसा देख रहे हैं कि 2 and 1 आर डिफरेंट एंटिटीज. वी आर काउंटिंग इट एज डिफरेंट एंटिटी, बट टू बी ऑनेस्ट वी हैव अ वे टू कॉम्बैट दैट ऑल्सो. बट अभी के लिए, टू मेक थिंग्स सीम अ लिटिल बिट सिंपल, 2 1 plus 2 and 2 plus 1 are different. Okay, do I make sense? हाँ, अभी के लिए both are different. But here if you see this question, let me just show you. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 3 is same as 3 plus 1 plus 1. ओके, तो ये वाला हमें हैंडल करना होगा, ये हमारी जिम्मेदारी है. पहले स्टार्टिंग में रिकर्शन में जो दिमाग में आ रहा है वही करने की कोशिश करो. फिर जो छोटे छोटे कंस्ट्रेंट्स है उसको सॉल्व करना। ओके, फेयर एनफ, क्लियर है इतना तक? ओके, सो अब हम लोग ऐसा बोल सकते हैं कि बेस केस कब आएगा? जीरो पे, when we are hitting zero. So if the value becomes zero, we need to add one to the answer. Add one to the number of ways. ऐसा ही कुछ होगा when we are achieving the bottom value that is zero, तो हम लोग काउंट करें ओके ये वाला एक कंट्रीब्यूट करेगा, वो वाला एक कंट्रीब्यूट करेगा, वो वाला एक कंट्रीब्यूट करेगा। डू आई मेक सेंस? अब वी हैव अ वे टू कॉम्बैट दैट। ओके, अब ध्यान से समझना। ओके, so what we can do is, suppose we are at 3. Okay, so from 1 I would try, suppose let's not take a small value, let's say that we have a value big enough as 5. So if we have 1, then I would pair 1 with which? I would pair 1 with something like 2. I would pair 1 with something like 3, something like 4, and here also I would pair up with 1 only, and then I can't pair up with 1 and 5 because it is more. So ऐसे करके अगर आप देखोगे, and then when we would go to 4, we would only pair up with something big. Okay, मतलब क्या करेंगे ना, यहाँ पे we would just सेम रिकर्शन ट्री को ध्यान से देख लो, देख लिया। अब और एक चीज देखना, अब नाउ आई वुड सॉल्व दिस थिंग। ओके, छोटा सा एडिट है, बस उसे समझाना चाहता हूँ, ध्यान से देखना इस बार कैसा रिकर्शन ट्री बनता है। If we have something like 3, then we can have 1, we can have 2, and we can have 3. Okay, we can use 3. Now if we use 1, the value remaining would be 2, the value remaining would be 1, the value remaining would be 0. Now last time we used 1, so this time we can only use 1 or more than 1. Okay, 1 or more than 1. So again we can use 1, and more than 1 is 2. So if I use 2 from 2, if I use 1, the remaining balance would be 1 again. If from 2 I use 2, the remaining value would be 0. But यहीं पे catch है, यहीं पे catch है, that value or greater than that value. So last value I selected was 2, लास्ट वैल्यू मैंने 2 लिया है ना, तो इस बार मैं 2 या 2 से ज्यादा नेक्स्ट एलिमेंट ले सकता हूं। ध्यान से सोचना ये कैसे हुआ। इस बार मैं 2 या 2 से ज्यादा के एलिमेंट लूंगा। यहाँ पे जब 1 था मैं 1 या 1 से ज्यादा लिया, यहाँ पे जब 2 है तो मैं 2 या 2 से ज्यादा लूंगा। ओके, सो 2 से ज्यादा क्या है? 3, बट आई हैव जस्ट अ वैल्यू ऑफ 1। अब 1 के बैलेंस में मैं 3 का कॉस्ट कैसे अफोर्ड कर सकता हूँ भाई? जैसे जैसे सेम थिंग, लाइक यू आर अ बैक बेंचर and you are in love with the topper, and the topper girl wants of the same vibe. So आप बैक बेंचर होके आप उस टॉपर को एम्फसाइज करना अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकते। सो इन द सेम मैनर अगर हमारे पास बैलेंस ही 1 है तो हम लोग 2 या 2 से ज़्यादा का अफोर्ड कर ही नहीं सकते। अगर मेरी सैलरी ही कम है तो हम एक महीने में एक कार अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकते। इन द सेम मैनर, सो आई कांट अफोर्ड एनीथिंग हियर। और यहाँ पर भी एज द वैल्यू इज 0 ओनली, सो वी वोंट गो फर्दर बिकॉज हमारा बेस केस क्या था? 0 था। अब हाउ मेनी टाइम्स? सो अगेन वी हैव जस्ट 1। अब क्या फिर से 1 या 1 से ज्यादा, and the value is 1, so I would again take 1 and the remaining value would be 0. अब कितना बार 0 अचीव हो पाया? अब हमारे पास एक बार 0 अचीव हो पाया, 2 बार 0 अचीव हो पाया, और ये करेक्ट आंसर है। For n is equals to 3, the solution is indeed 2. ओके, ये छोटा सा अप्रोच है, सो दैट you don't really handle the duplicates. If it was told that 1 plus 2 and 2 plus 1 would be considered as a different entity, then this is fine. But if 1 plus 2 and 2 plus 1 are considered the same, then you need to use the small modification. And ये वाली modification नहीं समझ में आती अगर मैं ऊपर वाला ट्री ड्रॉ नहीं करता. तो ये वाली modification छोटी सी चीज समझ में आई? डू आई मेक सेंस? ला अर्थात इस कहानी का यही है कि लास्ट वैल्यू जो लिया था, करंट वैल्यू लास्ट वैल्यू के बराबर या उससे ज्यादा होना चाहिए. What I want to conclude is that the current value we are taking should be greater than or equal to the last value. Then we would be able to differentiate between, we would be able to differentiate the duplicates. अब समझ में आया? Am I clear? Just give me a quick one. The number of people are absolutely very less. Just give me a quick one. ये चीज समझ में आ रही है? Others like Aroshi, Shujananda, and then Kishan, Ramcharan, these all people. Okay, so as the view count is absolutely very less, so I don't think there is a point in waiting. So I will just quickly move forward. So अब base case तो वही रहेगा, where we are getting 0. Recursive case क्या बन गया? Recursive case is something like this. If the current element is I, then the next element should be I plus 1, I plus 2, I plus 3, till the value is less than the element. Okay, so now we would do the same thing. Okay, we would write the recursive solution and then we would write the tabulation approach to this thing. Okay, fair enough. Let's move to the coding part. Count the number of ways. Here I would be, return type would be an integer, I would name it as rec, and this would be an int n. So if n is equals to 0, then we need to say, okay, this is fine, just return 0 from this point. If n is not equal to 0, what do we really do? Okay, what do we really do? So what we do is, for int the last value, we need to remember the last value. So we can simply take n on int I. Okay, so I is equals to 1. Okay, so for int j is equals to I, j is less than equal to n and j plus plus. Okay, now what I can do is, here I would initialize something like answer. Int answer is equals to 0, and answer plus equals to rec of n minus g. ओके, एंड हियर यहाँ पे आई दिया जाएगा, इसको कंसील करें. फॉर int I is equal to 1, I is less than n and I plus plus. यहाँ पे कुछ और वैल्यूज दे सकते हैं. And like this is not absolutely correct because we need to change the variables. यहाँ पे I, यहाँ पे भी I. This is not correct, but the idea would be absolutely very similar to this. कोई comments में जाके दिखा देता हूँ. 1 second. Let me just see. Comments में ऐसा कोई है? Yep, like this. Mm-hmm. Count the number of ways. Yep, kind of like this. Same as unbounded knapsack. No, 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 no. Okay, leave it. You can just find it for yourself. But this would be the recursive solution. Just give me a quick yes or no. Mm-hmm. Just give me a quick yes or no. Like this would be the basic idea. I'm not really very sure. Like I can't really submit it and test it because the recursive solution would definitely give a TLE. The base case will return 0 or 1. It would return 1 because जो node हमारा 0 दिया, that would kind of lead to the solution ना. वो एक एक solution बनेगा ना, वो branch एक एक solution बनेगा. Okay, I would explain the base case. Oh, I didn't share the screen. Mhm. See, last May, when you asked me that how many number of ways we can do that, how did we find out? We just found out how many ways led us to the value 0. इसका मतलब हमने सब कुछ कंज्यूम कर लिया है. This is what it means, ना? So, in the same manner, when we reach the value as 0, we just count it to the answer that is return 1. ओके कि ये वाली ब्रांच सोचो ये ब्रांच खत्म होते होते 0 पे आ गई, खत्म हो गए सब कुछ, तो ये वाली वुड रिटर्न 1. ये ब्रांच खत्म होते होते 0 पे आ गई, दिस वुड रिटर्न 1. ये ब्रांच खत्म होते होते 0 पे आ गई, सो दिस वुड रिटर्न 1. ओके, so am I clear to you, Arushi and Pratik Gole, why the base case would return 1? The base case would return 1 for sure. Just give me a quick yes or no. मैं पानी लेके आता हूँ तब तक. I returned 0. अरे ओह, अगर रिटर्न 0 होगा तो काउंट ही नहीं बढ़ पाएगा ना, कभी भी नहीं काउंट बढ़ पाएगा. सॉरी अबाउट दैट. ओके, अ वेरी लेम थिंग टू डू, बट इंसान हो. बड़ी बड़ी शहरों में छोटी छोटी गलती होती रहती है. इग्नोर करो. ओके, फेयर इनफ. So now, at this point, if you were a beginner, consider writing the recursive solution, then memoizing, and then tabulating. But after writing the recursive solution, I won't write the tabulation, but I can directly jump off to something like I don't need to memorize it. Today I won't be memorizing it. You can just memorize it like at this point when you have solved 10 to 15 problems, you can memorize it for yourself. The idea is important. Now we find out that काफी branches है. n की वैल्यू भी काफी ज्यादा है. Okay, the value of n is 10 to the power 3. So exponential solution won't really work. ये तो पक्का पता है. Okay, so if exponential solution won't work for recursion, तब उसका क्या क्या आंसर हो सकता है? Dynamic programming. That is why we would use dynamic programming to solve this one. So now this is very easy. The value of n, we want to access the index n. So we would write vector int dp of size n plus 1, and we would initialize everything with minus 1 at this point. Then we would write dp of 0 is equals to 1. Okay, and then we would start the for loop. For int I is equals to 1, because positive numbers starts from 0. 0 is a non-negative number. Minus 1 till that side is negative number. 0 is a non-negative number. 1 is a positive number. So we need to start from 1, and that value should be less than n, because we need to have sum of two or more positive numbers. Sum of two or more positive numbers मतलब अगर मुझे दो से ज़्यादा वैल्यू तो यूज़ करना ही है. If I have a value x and I only use x, that is only using one value, but we need to use two values. That is why when I is less than n, and then we say I plus plus at this point. Then we say for int j is equals to I, j is less than equal to the value n, and j plus plus. Okay, next value can be equal to 1, but पहला ही value x is equals to x, that means वो एक value अगर 5 है और 5 ही use कर लिया, that gives us no point. But you can also use less than n also, that would also be the same thing. But मैंने बता दिया equal to n, less than n, everything would work. Okay, let's make it equal to n. Okay, now at this point we would say dp of this number at this point is equal to dp of j added to dp of j minus I. Okay, recursion of j and then j minus I, दोनों को मिला दो. Suppose what I do is, let's say we याद है, we did the I don't know how many of you did this, but how many of you attended this, but I know some people out there in the stream. याद है when we were doing that string matching problem, we said when the last character is matching up, I would take that last character, you process it for the rest of the string. याद है, last character मैं कर लूंगा, बाकी तुम देख लो, झाड़ू मैं लगा दूंगा, बाकी घर आप साफ कर दो. So in the same manner, if we are using j, then I say that dp of j plus equals to dp of j minus I. ओके, क्योंकि मैंने j i यूज किया, तो j minus I का वैल्यू निकाल दो, I मैंने यूज कर लिया भैया अपना. Okay, so this can be same written as dp of j plus this. Okay, दिस इज काइंड ऑफ द वेरी सिमिलर वन. मतलब आई हटा के आप बाकी का प्रोसेस करके मुझे आंसर दे दो, ये बस इतना ही बोल रहा है. आप बाकी का प्रोसेसिंग करके आंसर बताओ, मेरा दिमाग मत खाओ. एंड दिस इज जस्ट एडिंग द सेम थिंग. ओके, हम लोग डीपी ऑफ जे को इंक्रीमेंट कर रहे हैं. ओके, एट द एंड वी वुड रिटर्न डीपी ऑफ, let us just compile and run. We won't really get an AC over this because we need to use mod and all also. Line 34, line 34. Expected semicolon after class definition. Okay, मैंने गलती से शायद ये वाला हटा दिया. This should work. -6. This is not working. Good enough. Now let us see. Why this is not working? dp of 0 is equals to 1. Fine. Okay, here this value is not required. Okay, dp of n minus 1, I is less than n, I plus plus, j is equals to I, j minus j plus plus. Okay, I was very habituated with the initialization of dp array n minus 1. बट यहाँ पे इनिशियल वैल्यू तो जीरो ही रहेगा ना, बिकॉज वी आर नॉट मेमोराइजिंग, वी आर डूइंग द टेबुलेशन अप्रोच. Done. Okay, so now we won't be really getting an messy over this, because as the answer can be very large, we need to do modulo 10 to the power 9 plus 7. But before that, first tell me if this small snippet of code is clear to you or not. Just a small snippet of code. Because other than this, is just an initialization. Just these two loops are clear to you or not. I or J है, okay, which would revolve around this. Sir, picture is not clear. Your internet is slow, man. My picture is clear. Okay, we have very less folks. I don't think I would be able to take this long. Okay, so यहाँ तक बात समझ में आ गई. Now you are told that the answer can be very large. Okay, so if the answer can be very large, we need to use something known as modulo. अब हमने क्या सीखा है? Let us just revise the same concept. A concept of modulo is required over here. So हमने सीखा है कि what is this modulo required for? Modulo इसलिए required होता है ताकि हम लोग वेरिएबल्स को एक सर्टेन लिमिट्स के अंदर ही रखें. जैसे बेटा बाहर खेलो मगर सोसाइटी के बाहर मत जाना. This is just like the same thing. We say that yes, the answer can be very large, but the value would still be less. कैसे? We can say if we want to do something like this, just remember this small bit of formula over this. A plus B whole modulo m is equals to A modulo m added to B modulo m and then whole modulo m itself. This is what it is. बस इतना याद रखो. Okay. Mhm. Okay. So now we need to do something like modulo. So what we would be doing here, const, because we would be using mod power 9 plus 7 again and again. Na? Const int mod is equals to 1e9 plus 7. Okay. So now what we can do is a plus b को mod करना तो कैसे होगा? Whole modulo mod. Okay. Then this value modulo mod and then this value modulo mod itself. After we are done with this, we can just return this. Now it is just compiling and again see. Good enough. Done. Okay. Okay. I need a help for web automatic. Anyone please help me? Okay. Okay, so this was the solution itself. The very next one is an egg dropping problem. So if you are a beginner and you were trying to make up a habit from this habit building workshop, consider skipping that problem. And if you are an intermediate, consider solving the last problem. At least see the last problem. But egg dropping problem is very specific to DSA interview. So if you have an interview lined up, consider solving that problem. Otherwise, as of now, if you're just wanting to get deep into this whole DSA thing, don't solve that problem, because the idea or the intuition of that problem is not that easy to detect. So if I'm clear with the solution, give me a quick one in the chat. Just give me a quick one in the chat if I'm clear with the solution. And quickly like the video. The number of likes are absolutely very low. View count is lower. Okay. So that was it from my side. I'm not receiving any doubts up till this point. So I would consider this as solved. So if you're if you're watching this stream in the recorded version, consider like consider liking and commenting on the video so that this hard work could be justified and this work could be promoted more. Egg dropping is range DP. It can be done without range DP also. But like the intuition of egg dropping problem, like the intuition of many problem, like I would tell you some problems. The intuition of next permutation, the intuition of egg dropping, the intuition of tower of Hanoi, these all problems doesn't really have an intuition. It might be a scenario that they might have, but I never found it. So don't solve it until you have an interview lined up. Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you and have a nice day. Goodbye everyone, happy weekend. But it's already over, so Monday blues. Upcoming Monday blues. Thank you everyone.